Hey, it's Jazz at Red Panda Reads, and this is not a TBR. I have to say that. I had to try and trick my mind into thinking that this is not a TBR, because as I've already established in one of my other videos, as soon as I think something has to be read, my mind is like, no, not having any of that. You're not going to feel like reading this, just, ignore it. So instead, this is a lovely collection of books that I am hoping to read for Nonfiction November during the month of November. Nonfiction November has been going on for about 6 years. It was started by 6 other wonderful booktubers. I will put a link to their channels below, and it's just a way to really encourage people to read a little bit more non-fiction than they usually would. Non-fiction is something that I've got into quite recently, just before I started my booktube channel, and it's been really great, and I feel that I'm educating myself in a really fun way. So I have decided to use the 4 prompts which are given for Nonfiction November, which are movement, discovery, buzz and time. And I have got a book for each of those. So the first book I'm planning to read is Mother Country. So this has been edited by Charlie Brinkhurst-Cuff, and this is a collection of accounts from people who were the children of the Windrush generation. And I recently listened to Small Island by Andrea Levy. I think Andrea Levy. And I found out that kind of the movement of people from the Caribbean over to the UK after the Second World War, after they had fought for what they called our mother country, was a massive gap in my history, and the extent of racism to these people who were black who'd come over to the UK after helping in our war was horrific. And I really was interested in kind of finding out more and educating myself more about what it was like for people who were part of the Windrush generation, and in this case their children. So I went to my local small bookshop, Storysmith, which is fabulous. If you live in the Bristol area, I'd definitely go and check them out. But I asked for a book about the Windrush generation and they recommended this, and I'm really excited to read it. And as I've already implied, this is going to fill my movement prompt. Don't know why I did that. So the next book I've got is for time, and I know it's too early to say this word, but Christmas, okay, it's over, I've said it now. So I want to read Twas the Night Shift Before Christmas by Adam Kay. And the reason for this is because doctors don't have much time. And so I think it nicely fills the time prompt. Twas the Night Shift Before Christmas, why do I find that so hard to say, is a collection of stories of Adam Kay's experiences working as a junior doctor on a obs and gynae ward, and his writing tends to be very humorous. I've also seen him live and he is phenomenal. This should be a fun read. I've had this for about a year. It's also beautifully signed by Adam Kay. And I read his first book and really enjoyed it. However, I have been quite nervous about reading this book. And the reason is, up until recently, I was a junior doctor working in the NHS during a COVID pandemic. And I had to make a really difficult decision to leave. The short story is I could not cope with people dying, and as a doctor, you were seeing people dying, people suffering a lot of the time, and it just filled me with a lot of anxiety, and it hurt. It hurt watching people, suffer, and therefore I've had to make the decision really recently to basically leave my career that I have been working towards for so long. To all the people working in the NHS, you are absolutely incredible. And the reason I've been worried about picking up this book is, although I know I've done the right thing for both me and my patients, and I still have the thing where I feel like I failed, and I feel also like I've let people down by leaving, even though it was the right thing to do. And therefore, every time like doctors are mentioned, they seem to be everywhere, even for example in comedy sketches or in books. I get this kind of horrible feeling of failure. And I'm trying to overcome that. I'm trying to be proud of my achievements, of what I achieved through university, what I achieved last year, the people whose lives I made a difference to, because I think I did. So I want to get over that kind of aversion to doctors. And I think if I can do that, and if I can do that via humour, via this book, I think that would be wonderful. Yeah. So the next prompt is Discovery, and this is another book I brought from Storysmith because it is beautiful, and I'm actually halfway through this one, but I won't finish it by the end of November, so I'm going to add it onto my November list. And that is The Museum of Whales You Will Never See, Travel Among the Collections of Iceland by Kendra Greene. So I picked this up because I love the cover and I adored Iceland, and this is a book which is basically an exploration of the museums in Iceland. And what's amazing is, let me just double check. You know when a fact can just roll off your tongue and then a week later it's gone? This is it. Ah, that's it, I found it. So for such a tiny island with such a tiny population, Iceland has 265 mostly very small museums, and this book is basically about someone travelling to all the different museums, but it's a lot more a critique on, it's a lot more a exploration of the people who created these museums rather than going around the museums and being like, look at this exhibit. So far I'm really enjoying it. It's one that I'm kind of dipping in and out of, but I'll tell you more about it when I've read it. So the last prompt is Buzz, and for that I have A Man's Search for Meaning. I have already put that on my previous TBR and I have still not read it, and it's such a tiny book, and it's about a doctor who ended up in Auschwitz during the Second World War, and my understanding is the first part of the book is more focused on his experiences of that, and the second part of his book is more looking at psychology, and it's supposed to be a really powerful and moving book, and I'm really looking forward to reading it. It's just quite a heavy subject. So this is linked to the word buzz. How you're thinking? Well, this was my logic. Doctor, cool. In Auschwitz, okay. Second World War, okay. Second World War bombs, okay. What bombs were there? The doodlebugs or buzz bombs. So that is how I got to buzz for that. So that is my 4 books. I will not definitely read them all, but I'm hoping to definitely get through 2 because that will be more than my average number of non-fiction reads. So before I go, I quickly want to share some Red Panda related things. So as you may have met before, this is my little red panda Chota, who I got when my partner Rob adopted a red panda at Bristol Zoo named Chota, and he's now my little car mascot most of the time. And sadly, Chota passed away earlier this year, but Bristol Zoo have got a new panda for their conservation programme, and she's a very young panda. And today, my adoption pack for the new red panda came. So the new red panda she's called Shifumi. So she's just under a year old, I think, and she was originally in a French zoo and has been moved over here. I've got like a little cute picture of her, and then also a little fact file. So it says here she was born on the 9th of July last year. She's female, so she kind of talks about where red pandas are normally from. So they tend to be Asia, India, Nepal, China, Bhutan, and they like temperate forests and woodland. It then also talks about kind of their plans for her. So her name comes from the French version of rock, paper, scissors. And the game actually originates in China, which is a nice link to her Asian origin. And then it says she's a very skillful, acrobatic animal, and that they're planning to potentially in a couple of years introduce her to a male panda and potentially make little fluffy red pandas. And finally, it just says she loves eating panda cakes, which is a special blend of condensed bamboo mixed with water and made into cake-like balls. So that really brightened up my day. And yeah, so I realised we hadn't had some red pandas for a while, and I do like to share my red panda facts. So let me know if you've read any of these non-fiction books. Let me know if you're taking part in Nonfiction November and what books you're thinking of reading yourself. And lovely to see you all. Have a wonderful week, and we will see you soon. Bye bye.